South Korea has made a winning start to the World Cup, staging a second-half comeback to defeat the Czech Republic or Czechia in its Group A opener. President Lee Jae-myung will continue his state visit to Italy on Friday with talks with Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni before joining a Korea-Italy business forum focused on strengthening economic cooperation between the two countries. The U.S. and Iran appear to be on the verge of sealing a war-ending agreement, with Geneva emerging as the likely venue for a signing ceremony in the coming days. South Korea kicked off its World Cup journey with a statement victory, rallying from a goal down to beat Czechia and make a strong start to its Group A campaign. Our Taegeuk has our top story tonight.
South Korea showed resilience in its opening match of the 2026 FIFA World Cup in Mexico. The team fell behind midway through the second half after Ladislav Krejci headed Czechia in front in the 59th minute. But Korea's response was immediate. 8 minutes later, midfielder Hwang In-bum restored the parity with a well-taken equalizer, assisted by Lee Gang-in. Substitute Oh Hyun-gyu completed the turnaround in the 80th minute, assisted by Hwang, giving Korea a 2-1 victory. Rather than retreating after conceding, Korea continued to push forward. The Taegeuk Warriors created chances throughout and maintained their attacking approach. That persistence paid off as Korea found 2 goals in a span of just over 20 minutes, turning a difficult situation into a winning start and boosting confidence ahead of a tough group stage test against Mexico. The victory gives South Korea an important foundation in Group A. Opening matches often play a key role in determining a team's path to the knockout stage, and collecting 3 points eases pressure heading into upcoming fixtures. With a hard-fought comeback win over the Czechia, South Korea looked well-placed to secure a place in the round of 32. Taegeuk, Arirang News.
Well, now that South Korea has wrapped up its opening match with a 2-1 victory, attention is now turning to the bigger question: how far can the Taegeuk Warriors go in this World Cup? For more on Korea's prospects, we have our Cho Young-eun in the studio. Welcome, Young-eun.
Thank you for having me.
So, Young-eun, we've all seen the match this morning, but you were out there at one of the public viewing events in downtown Seoul. What was the atmosphere like?
Right, I was at Gwanghwamun Square this morning into the afternoon, where thousands of supporters gathered to support the national team. The atmosphere was buzzing with excitement as fans celebrated South Korea's victory in its opening match. In central Seoul, thousands of football fans dressed in red gathered at Gwanghwamun Square to support South Korea in its opening match of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Despite the early weekday kickoff, supporters filled the square waving flags and chanting in support of the national team. Known as the Red Devils, South Korea's official supporters group rose to global prominence during the country's historic run to the World Cup semifinals in 2002, and large-scale fan park events have become a hallmark since then. Fridays featured K-pop boy band Cortis performing the group's latest title track, Red Red.
We were born in 2003, so we didn't get to experience the 2002 World Cup. We came out today because we wanted to feel the atmosphere from back then.
The atmosphere remained electric throughout the match, with fans erupting in cheers at every attacking opportunity, crucial save, and key moment on the field. As South Korea secured a victory over Czechia in its opener, the crowd burst into celebration, chanting and embracing one another as the final whistle confirmed the result.
We just turned 20 this year, so we came to Gwanghwamun to watch the World Cup. I'm really happy because South Korea won the match, and it feels like such a meaningful and memorable day for us.
I'm really happy we won. Even in the hot weather, so many people came out to support the team, and it was great to cheer alongside fans from all over the world.
After its first win on Friday, South Korea will take on host nation Mexico on June 19, before wrapping up the group stage against South Africa on June 25. Expectations are high for the Taegeuk Warriors, who have now qualified for the World Cup 11 consecutive times and 12 times overall, extending their record as Asia's most frequent World Cup participants.
Well, Young, the atmosphere is expected to last throughout the whole World Cup period. Now, many fans will be wondering how far can Taegeuk Warriors really will go this time?
Right. Public viewing events in Seoul is expected to continue through the remainder of the group stage, with additional fan zones planned, including a pop-up venue at the Duksam Hangang Park. As for the team's prospect, there is a sense of optimism surrounding this Korean squad. At the center of the team is Captain Son Heung-min, now playing for Los Angeles FC, who is appearing in his 4th World Cup. Alongside him are Paris Saint-Germain midfielder Lee Kang-in and Bayern Munich defender Kim Min-jae, giving Korea talent across all areas of the field. The squad spent several weeks training in Utah to adapt to the high-altitude conditions they are expected to face in Mexico during the group stage. Head coach Hong Myung-bo later highlighted that preparation was a key factor behind the team's performance, as the win over Czechia was Korea's first in a World Cup group stage opener in 16 years.
Well, this year's World Cup is also known to be pretty different from the ones we've seen so far. What should fans be watching for this edition?
Well, the biggest difference is the tournament's formats. The 2026 FIFA World Cup is set to be the largest edition in the tournament's history. For the first time, the tournament features 48 teams instead of the traditional 32, with a record 104 matches being played across 3 host countries. Under the new format, the 48 teams are divided into 12 groups of 4. The top 2 teams from each group, along with the 8 best third-place teams, advance to the knockout stage. The expanded field creates more opportunities for teams to progress, giving South Korea a stronger chance of reaching the round of 32. Following tonight's victory, South Korea now has a 93% chance of advancing to the round of 32, according to the Athletic World Cup forecast. If South Korea can secure a second win in the group stage, its chances of reaching the knockout rounds would become virtually certain.
Well, certainly an exciting tournament ahead for South Korean football fans. Young-eun, thank you for the coverage.
Thank you.
President Lee Jae-myung continues his state visit to Italy with a summit meeting with Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni on Friday. And later in the day, he'll attend the Korea-Italy Business Roundtable, where business leaders from both countries will discuss ways to expand cooperation. Our Blue House correspondent Song Yoo-jin has the details.
President Lee Jae-myung will conclude his summit diplomacy in Italy with talks with Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. Friday's meeting comes less than 5 months after Meloni's official visit to Seoul. At their January summit at the Blue House, Korea and Italy signed 3 memorandums of understanding covering semiconductors, cultural heritage protection, and civil protection. Talks this time are expected to serve as a follow-up to those agreements, with the 2 leaders reviewing their implementation. Another key outcome will be the adoption of a Korea-Italy action plan for 2026 through 2030, an initiative that Prime Minister Meloni proposed during her visit to Seoul.
The action plan will provide a vision for strengthening bilateral ties across the board and expanding mutually beneficial strategic cooperation between our 2 countries.
The plan is expected to provide a roadmap for Seoul and Rome's newly elevated special strategic partnership in areas ranging from trade and renewable energy to advanced industries and defense. The 2 sides will also sign 4 new MOUs covering small and medium-sized enterprises, social and solidarity economy, advanced science and ICT, as well as joint support for economic development in Africa. Following the summit, President Lee will attend the Korea-Italy Business Roundtable, which will bring together more than 40 business leaders and government officials.
반도체, 인공지능, 방산, 우주항공, 에너지, 바이오 등 양국 기업들이 다양한 분야에서 성장의 기회를 함께 모색하는 훌륭한 시간이 될 것으로 기대합니다.
In a keynote address, Yi will highlight the importance of closer economic cooperation as businesses navigate growing uncertainties stemming from the rise of AI and the reorganization of global supply chains. 송유진, Arirang News.
After days of rapidly escalating tensions in the Middle East, Washington says a diplomatic framework with Tehran could soon be within reach, with media reports suggesting a possible signing ceremony in Europe as early as this weekend. Our Moon Hye-ryun has the details.
U.S. President Trump on Thursday swung from threatening a third straight day of strikes on Iran to calling them off entirely, suggesting a deal may be in the works. Speaking from the Oval Office, Trump claimed a breakthrough had been reached on a preliminary memorandum of understanding.
We just made a great settlement of the war with Iran, and we're going to be subject to finalization of documents, which should get done over the next few days. We'll probably have a signing maybe in Europe.
According to Axios, 4 U.S. Air Force transport aircraft flew to Europe on Thursday, while an advance team has already departed for Geneva, where officials are reportedly working toward a signing ceremony as early as Saturday. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance is expected to lead the American delegation, and if signed, the deal would be known as the Islamabad Agreement. CBS News, citing 2 sources, reports the U.S. and Iran could sign a memorandum of understanding or a letter of intent as early as next week. Key terms reportedly include a 60-day ceasefire extension, the immediate reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, and temporary sanctions relief. On the nuclear issue, only broad language is expected in the MOU, with specifics left for post-signing negotiations. However, Iran's state broadcaster pushed back on Trump's claims of a finalized agreement, with the foreign ministry calling the assertions premature and stressing that no decision had been reached, while reaffirming the country's established limits, including the right to maintain a nuclear program. This week's escalation began Monday when U.S. Central Command struck Iran following the downing of an American Apache helicopter near the Strait of Hormuz, triggering 2 nights of U.S. strikes on southern Iran. Tehran retaliated by targeting American bases across the region. On Thursday morning, Trump threatened on social media to seize Karg Island, through which roughly 90% of Iran's crude exports pass, before backing away in a Fox News interview. Notably absent from the emerging deal is Israel. While Trump said Israel had approved the deal's key points, Prime Minister Netanyahu's office clarified it would not be a signatory to the memorandum. Moon Hye-ryun, Arirang News.
The ROK Air Force has kicked off its largest-scale standalone aerial combat exercise on Friday, Soaring Eagle, for the first time in a year and a half. According to the Air Force on Friday, the exercise will run for a week until June 19th, out of an airbase in Cheongju involving more than 50 aircraft, including F-35A and F-16 jets, and around 210 personnel. The latest drill will focus on enhancing operational capability and assessing its combat readiness against various potential threats. The Air Force has also invited around 10 Air Force representatives from allied countries, including Saudi Arabia and Poland, as observers. Investor sentiment got a boost on Friday, with South Korean stocks surging on hopes that a U.S.-Iran peace deal may soon be within reach. Our Kim Jun-hong has this report.
Korea's stock market saw sharp gains on Friday, with the benchmark KOSPI regaining the 8,000 level after 3 trading days below the mark. The index closed at 8,123.62, up 4.63% from the previous session. After opening more than 6% higher, the KOSPI triggered a buy-side sidecar just 6 minutes into trading, and at one point surged more than 8%. The secondary KOSDAQ also finished above the 1,000 mark for the first time in 5 trading days. The rally was fueled by hopes for a U.S.-Iran peace deal after U.S. President Donald Trump said Washington had reached a great settlement with Iran.
The optimism lifted Wall Street overnight with major U.S. indexes closing higher. Foreign investors were the driving force behind Friday's rally. After 24 straight sessions of net selling, they returned to the buying side with more than $1.3 billion in net purchases. Individual investors, by contrast, took profits after helping drive the recent gains.
It's possible that some foreign investors had been selling stocks to raise cash for the SpaceX listing scheduled for Friday. With that event now approaching, the selling may have largely run its course, drawing investors back to the outperforming Korean market.
Volatility has become a defining feature of Korea's stock markets this year. Friday's buy-side sidecar marked the 25th activation on the KOSPI so far this year. That leaves the total just one below the 26 recorded during the 2008 global financial crisis. Analysts say the recent volatility reflects the market's rapid ascent, with leveraged products and large memory chip makers amplifying price swings. They see the recent foreign selling less as a warning sign but more as a natural rebalancing move following the market's rapid growth. Still, many warn that the shift back to buying may be difficult to sustain without broader structural changes. Kim Jun-ho, Arirang News.
In the meantime, South Korea's economy faces dual threats from prolonged Middle East tensions. The Bank of Korea is signaling an interest rate hike to tackle inflation, while the Finance Ministry shifts its focus to stabilize a slowing job market. Kim Do-yeon has more.
The Korean economy is showing strong headline growth, but top policymakers are sounding the alarm over a growing crisis in everyday livelihoods. During the Bank of Korea's 76th anniversary address on Friday, Governor Shin Hyun-song highlighted the unexpectedly strong first-quarter economic growth. However, he warned that the prolonged Middle East conflict is keeping consumer prices high. Citing these external shocks, a volatile currency, and surging household debt from leveraged investing, Shin signaled that tighter monetary policy is unavoidable.
Therefore, with an emphasis on price stability, there is a need to raise interest rates without delay.
The Finance Ministry's latest economic assessment confirms this growing disconnect. While booming semiconductor exports have prompted the government to officially remove downside economic risks from its broader growth outlook, the reality on the ground is deteriorating. Presiding over an emergency meeting, Deputy Prime Minister Koo Yoon-chul warned that geopolitical uncertainties are driving up import prices and triggering a visible contraction in the labor market.
The government will maintain exceptional vigilance over prices and employment, doing our utmost to minimize the impact of the Middle East war and stabilize public livelihoods.
To shield the public from this economic fallout, the government is pivoting to immediate sector-specific job interventions. It'll also accelerate commercialization plans for future growth engines, such as next-generation power semiconductors, to sustain the broader recovery. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
The European Central Bank says it may not be done hiking rates just yet. ECB Governing Council member Joachim Nagel said the bank could raise rates again at its July meeting if the fallout from the Middle East war demands it. He argued that rising energy costs are feeding into broader inflation, making Thursday's quarter-point rate hike unavoidable, even if the conflict cools quickly. Now, the move made the ECB the first major central bank to raise rates in response to the Iran war. Markets are already pricing in 2 more quarter-point increases in September and December. Mega-hit boy band BTS kicked off its concert down in Busan City this morning as part of its ongoing Arirang World Tour. The group is performing at the Busan Asiad Main Stadium for 2 days starting today, coinciding with the 13th anniversary of its debut on June 13th. Ahead of the milestone, BTS released a new digital single, Come Over, today. The track, co-produced by Suga and credited to RM and J-Hope, was previously only available on the vinyl LP edition of the group's fifth full-length album, Arirang. Now, the BTS is also set to unveil a music video for the album track Merry Go Round next week. And to help make the BTS concert experience as affordable and welcoming as possible for visiting fans, local accommodations, authorities, and even cultural sites such as temples are joining forces to uphold Busan's reputation and showcase the city's hospitality ahead of the event. Our Park Junan has the story.
Ahead of BTS World Tour concert Arirang in Busan, complaints over unusually high hotel room rates grew so widespread that even the BTS members themselves have spoken out. During a live broadcast last month, the group's leader RM, using a Busan dialect, urged local businesses to be reasonable. To protect visitors from unfair practices and safeguard Busan's reputation, the city has launched the Fair Accommodation Challenge. Leading the charge are some local hotels that are refusing to take advantage of the surging demand. Their room rates have been kept to within normal peak season levels, prioritizing long-term tourism growth over short-term profits.
Canceling reservations without a guest's consent simply to charge higher rates goes against fair business practices. It's unfortunate that a small number of operators are tarnishing the reputation of Busan's entire lodging industry. International visitors are expected to account for more than 85% of bookings on Friday and Saturday.
The problem began when the concert date was suddenly announced in January, triggering a surge in bookings that led to overbookings and, in some cases, cancellations as rooms were relisted at significantly higher prices. To counter this, Busan City Hall has conducted on-site inspections, even referring severe cases of intentional cancellations to the police and the National Tax Service.
As recently as April, room rates on booking platforms were still quite high. But over the past couple of weeks, prices have come down significantly. Hotel rates are ultimately driven by supply and demand. So the city has been working to increase the number of available rooms, which helps bring prices down.
But it is not just hotels that take part in this goodwill challenge. To meet the massive demand for lodging, we're seeing Buddhist temples like this in Busan opening their doors to fans for free. Some international fans are being welcomed with lodging, traditional temple food, and mindfulness programs like singing bowls and tea meditations.
In Buddhism, there is a teaching that we are all connected. Despite our different nationalities, races, and cultures, we are ultimately one. If there is a common ideal we all share, it is the pursuit of happiness. In that sense, we should be grateful for BTS and for creating an opportunity that brings people together.
The City Hall director argued that lasting regulatory reforms are needed to prevent similar issues from resurfacing as Busan continues to grow as a destination for major global events. Park Junan, Arirang News, Busan.
Tomorrow, daytime temperatures will reach around 30 degrees Celsius across most parts of the country. Seoul's daytime high will climb to 31 degrees, making it even warmer than today. The early summer heat will continue into Sunday as well. But from late afternoon, scattered showers will develop across much of the country, except for Seoul and the east coast of Gangwon-do province. Rain will also develop in Jeju Island. Rainfall is likely to range from 5 to 30 millimeters across the country, while Jeju Island may see less than 5 millimeters. Meanwhile, ozone levels are expected to rise in the afternoon, so it would be best to limit outdoor activities and plan to stay indoors during the daytime hours. Tomorrow, Seoul will start the day at 17 degrees Celsius, Daejeon at 15 degrees, Busan at 19 degrees. Then by the afternoon, Seoul will get up to 31 degrees, Daegu 32, Gwangju 30 degrees. The heat will stick around for a while with highs near 30 degrees. Now here's a look at the weather around the world.
That is all we have for tonight. I'm Kim Dami. From all of us here at Arirang, thanks for watching and good night.